reshuffle. What are Conservative MPs saying publicly? Well, let's ask a couple. Alec Shelbrooke is a former Defence Minister and Jake Berry is a former Tory party chair. Welcome both. Let's start with you, Alec Shelbrooke. Is this the reshuffle that you'd have wanted?
I mean, look, Ben had made the decision to go, and it is an absolute, I think, travesty that he wasn't able to get the NATO Secretary General job. I think that would have been of a huge benefit to NATO. And I speak as the leader of the UK delegation to the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, and I know that he's very well respected. So I think Ben moving on to explore other areas, good for Ben, but bad for the government, really, because he was such an experienced Secretary of State, one of the longest serving. So therefore, he brought in, which I think I was quite surprised to see, was Grant this morning. And Grant's going to have to show himself to defend the military and demand the sort of spending that it needs in the same way that Ben did.
Right, why is Grant Shapps a surprise appointment?
Was that me or Jake?
No, that's you. Yeah, that was your point. So
okay.
let's.
No, I mean, so it just wasn't a name I had in the fray. Look, Grant did a good job as Transport Secretary, and I think he grasped the nettle during the pandemic and got lots of work done and got projects up to date on the roads and the rail. So he is an experienced Secretary of State, and indeed he's had departments, but I mean, we do know, obviously, Home Secretary was literally the 1 week when Suella Braverman wasn't Home Secretary, and so perhaps a little unfair on him. But he's going into a exceptionally serious department. I mean, I was a Defence Minister. What strikes you is just how serious the people are there. And we are talking some of the most serious people in the country, and you have to earn their respect. That's the most important thing. But most importantly of all, he has got to stand up for the Defence Department and demand the budgets that he needs from the Treasury, because we are at war, and it is our war as much as anybody else's war, and the military needs renewal. And so he has a big opportunity, though, to prove himself.
All right. Jake Berry, are you prepared to damn with faint praise the way Alec just has?
No, I wouldn't say that. I know Grant very well. He's an exceptional minister. He's proved himself in lots of departments. Has he got ground to make up to prove himself to the defence establishment? Yes. I've got no problem with him having no military experience. In fact, Ben Wallace, as a former serving soldier, was the exception in that job rather than the rule. I think Grant will do a very good job, and he's a good media performer, and he's knows how to run big departments. I would like to take the opportunity to say what an extraordinary job I think Ben Wallace has done. I phoned him before this programme this evening. I was chatting to him, and I said to him on the phone, what I'll happily say to you is I think he's got a record he can be exceptionally proud of, both as Security Minister and Defence Minister. He stepped down after 4 years in the role of Defence Minister because he slept with 3-4 mobile phones by his bed every night. He's got a relatively young family. I know him and his wife very well. And it seems to me that we should admire him, actually, for being brave enough to step back at the top of his game from a job he clearly loved.
OK, and let's talk about Claire Coutinho going from Children's Minister to Energy Security Secretary. Is this a reward for success or loyalty? We'll stay with you on this, Jake.
Well, I don't actually know Claire very well. She's only been in Parliament for, 4 years now, or just 4 years. She is very close to the Prime Minister. She was his special advisor before, I think, becoming his PPS when she first entered Parliament. It's obviously a very good relationship. That needs to be a strong relationship for the next general election. It's a big job for her. It's a big department. It's clearly going to be a battle line for the next general election. She hasn't run a department before. That will mean that some people are concerned about her. But the Prime Minister obviously knows her well. He thinks she's an exceptional performer. And I look forward to seeing her in action, as it were.
Alec Shelbrooke, your thoughts then on Claire Coutinho in this job? Nobody knows who she is. She doesn't have any sort of a background of success or achievement.
Well, I like Claire, and she's been around in the background for many years before she was an MP, and generally thought to have done a good job as children's minister. She has got a baptism of fire, though, coming on Tuesday when the report stage and third reading of the energy bill comes back. And there are amendments to that bill piling in left, right and centre as we speak. I've been involved in that bill from second reading through committee stage, and we've had commitments from Grant that the hydrogen levy would be removed from people's electricity bills. That's just one area that she's going to have to tackle on Tuesday on the floor of the House, and there is a real job to be done in managing the parliamentary party on this bill. So she's going to very quickly show whether she's up to the job or not, but by 7 p.m. Tuesday evening.
Right. So this mini reshuffle, this is an administrative change. None of this is going to do anything to help your party close the 20-point gap in the polls, is it?
Well, I think this mini reshuffle is what you might say is the sort of amuse-bouche to the Prime Minister's full reshuffle, which will happen after party conference. Look, the only way we can close that polling gap, and I've knocked on and canvassed 2,500 people in Rosendale in Lancashire over the summer. The only way we can close that is to set out a compelling vision for Britain. Now, so far, the Prime Minister hasn't done that, but nor has Keir Starmer. And that is why this general election absolutely can and I think will be won by the Conservative Party, because at our conference, the Prime Minister will set out that vision, and then he'll change his cabinet, if reports are correct, to build a team who can deliver on it. And if the British people believe in his vision and his cabinet and his plan, that referendum on the future, which every single general election is one that the Prime Minister can and I believe will win.
Thank you for that. Jake Berry, Conservative MP for Rossendale and Darwin, and Alec Shelbrooke, Conservative MP for Elmet and Rothwell. Thank you both. Let's bring in Thursday night's First Edition panel for their reactions. With me tonight, broadcaster and author Tessa Dunlop and The Sun's deputy political editor, Ryan Saby. Welcome both. Let's start with you, Ryan, since this is your wheelhouse. Initial thoughts then?
I think it's the hors d'oeuvre. It's the starter before as Jake Berry was saying, before that big main.
Oh,
course.
he was much posher than starter. He was all about the amuse-bouche.
No, exactly. And I think one of the interesting things that Rishi Sunak decided to delay that main reshuffle is because he doesn't want those disgruntled Tory MPs wandering around party conference come the beginning of October, talking to people like myself, journalists, political correspondents, etc., and spouting off and having a moan about Rishi Sunak's policy and the way he wants to run his government. So I think that's one of the reasons why he's delayed it. But Grant Shapps, you can see why that decision has been made. As someone who's been in charge of those big departments, whether it's been energy, transport, he likes getting involved.
That's only 2 of the 5 in the last year.
Those Home Secretary.
Oh, do you want the list? Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. We'll have a quiz.
Yeah. He was there, obviously, at Home Secretary for a bit, business as well. Yeah. So he has been there. He has been in charge of those departments, and also he was party chairman for a while. So he's got that experience. Going back to David Cameron's days. So when the Conservatives came in 2010. So he has been around.
Yeah. Tiggs, it's record-breaking, isn't it? His head must be sort of spinning. This is his 5th department within 12 months. I mean, Grant who? Grant Housing, Grant Transport, Grant Business, Grant Energy. Actually, he wasn't Housing. Grant Chairman, Grant Defence. Oh, Grant Defence. Goody good.
I think one of the things that Rishi Sunak will be looking at is that political reasoning of why he's been brought in. He wants those close people around him as he launches into that sort of, the year until the next election. He wants those people really, really close to him so they can set out that strategy and actually communicate to the British public about what Rishi Sunak's vision is.
Do you think he's going to be allowed to keep his TikTok account?
Yeah, I think he says use that for personal reasons and what have you.
So looking at the small
I think as long as he doesn't use a government computer or his phone, I think he seems that he's allowed to use